Grenada, and the rest of the world. It is a Thursday morning, gorgeous Thursday morning here on the Spice Out. Took a look outside just a few minutes ago. Tons and tons and tons of sunshine. Looks like we're in for another nice day. You know, we had some showers yesterday. Uh, First day of the month. A very warm welcome to you on this first day of the month. November 1st. Supposedly the final month of the hurricane season, which ends November 30th. We'll just have to wait and see. Folks, first of all, let me break the news to you. He's here. Yeah. It's a Thursday morning, and Allan will be smiling at you in just a few minutes from now. Actually, a little bit sooner than you think. See, in this morning's buzz, I have just a couple of Facebook comments which I'd like to share with you. And then, rather than go directly from the buzz to the national report, we're going to be going directly to Allan. And then we'll get to the national report. Now, why do we have to do that? Well, I'll tell you what. This morning, Allan has to skip class a little bit early. He has another engagement within the hour, and he's going to have to skip class a little bit early today, okay? Would you believe, as I'm talking to you here about the character, there he is showing up on Zoom already. So I'll tell you what, we'll get to him in just a wee bit. However, let's get cracking with those comments I told you that I wanted to share with you from Facebook. Just two brief comments. The first one, this is a comment from Mr. Carl Hood, former minister with the National Democratic Congress and an ambassador during the time of the new National Party. This is not about party colors. Let me quote, and this appeared on Facebook. Having sat in a forum discussing the bill, and he's referring to the CCJ, obviously, I have some deep concerns. Changing a constitution is never something to be taken lightly. Remember, it is not being amended to include, but to change. Heard me? I found out that the bill is not just about the CCJ, but will in fact give rights to change other parts of the Constitution that do not need a referendum. I caution all to pay attention. The questions being asked are very pertinent. Do we know what is in the bill? Do we know what we are going to vote for or against? Those are the words of a former minister in the NDC government and a former ambassador with the new National Party, Carl Hood. It's comment number one, okay? Comment number two, and I quote, I have been thinking about the upcoming referendum, re the CCJ, and the following struck me. There are three arms to the government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The executive is the cabinet. The legislative is the parliament. And the judiciary is the law courts. All three are supposed to function independently of one another. Separation of powers. In Grenada, one group has absolute control with an unopposed majority in the executive and legislative arms. As a matter of fact, the executive is a subsection of the legislature. This situation makes the independence of the judiciary even more important. It serves as a check against total power being in the hand of one group. Now, for the referendum. The group that already has firm control over the executive and legislative arms of the government is asking us to allow them to change a very important cog in the judiciary. If the bill passes, then all three arms of the government will flow through one body. Where then would be the separation of powers? Who checks who? Who is protecting the people? I have just shared with you, pilgrims, a couple of comments which appeared on Facebook just a couple of days ago. And I believe that Mr. Baczynski has been listening, and I'm sure that he'll have something to say about that. So let me say good morning to Mr. Allan Baczynski. How are you, sir?
Good morning, George. I'm very well. I'm very excited, actually.
You're excited.
Finally, it appears that people are beginning to take notice of what is going to happen on November the 6th. And I'm not talking about the midterm elections in states. That is not a side issue. We are going to vote on November the 6th to change our constitution. No, I've started by saying this because I heard just yesterday a woman who was being interviewed as to why she was voting yes. And she said, because after all these years of independence, it's time for us to move the Queen. Now, this is indicative of the level of disinformation and the success of the campaign mounted by the current administration to mislead people as to what the purpose of the referendum is. It is to change the constitution. The issue of joining the CCJ is an issue that apparently, if I am to read and to understand the public pronouncements from a wide cross-section of society, yes, we agree that the CCJ is ours and it is desirable to join it in furtherance of the Treaty of Chaguaramas. However, since the procedure requires constitutional amendments, we must ensure that those amendments are done properly. And I have not been satisfied, and many people have not been satisfied, with regard to the apparent deficiencies and anomalies that exist in the draft bill that we are being asked to approve on November the 6th. And it is regrettable, in my view, that from the government side, they are trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the electorate by couching everything in emotional grandstanding by saying we have to break the chains of colonialism. No, I was under the impression that they had understood that the breaking the chains of colonialism is not an argument that is going to stand scrutiny. For example,
We're not moving the Queen, as that poor misinformed individual believes. We are not taking out the Queen's likeness from our banknotes. We are not removing the wig from Chester Humphrey's head. So we're not doing any of this. But the procedure requires constitutional amendments, and I speak subject to correction. But if we pass the bill as it stands and amend the Constitution, is it not reasonable to conclude that if we have to correct the bill to get rid of the anomalies, to correct the deficiencies, that we will again have to have another referendum? And it seems to me that the warning has been raised, but the government seems to have put stone in their ears. They will not hear. On a local television program earlier this week, there was representation by 3 lawyers. I think one representing the local bar, another apparently representing her husband, and a third one who is a former attorney general. And the arguments, which should have been based on law and reason, seemed to have founded in the case of one individual on the panel who continued to promote this canard about breaking the chains of colonialism. We have gone beyond that. You cannot fool all of us. You will fool some. But as on another program, Councillor Jerry Edwin said, if you assume that all the people who voted in favor of the party which currently has a monopoly on parliamentary representation, if all of them come out, if all of them who, according to the CARICOM observers, voted where they shouldn't have voted or were not entitled to vote, even if you get all of them, you are unlikely to get the requisite 2/3 majority to win the referendum. Surely, it is only common sense. Listen to the people who are experts in the field. Listen to the people who are saying, listen, we agree with the objective, but your process is flawed. Let us correct the process. That is not unreasonable. And so it is not surprising then that a lot of people who are suddenly engaged in the exercise are saying, but wait now, you know, this thing really making too much sense, you know. I don't think I go say yes. In all conscience, I can't say yes. Now, I got an email from a colleague in Trinidad who is a lawyer. And he apparently had recently read an article penned several weeks ago by Ray Roberts, pointing out the flaws, the deficiencies, and also the issue raised by the labor representatives regarding electoral matters being excluded from being referred to the final court of appeal, which is a nonsense really, given the kind of shenanigans that have been identified by the CARICOM Observer Mission, not once, but twice, I believe. So it seems that we have the opportunity to put things right. So my colleague in Trinidad is asking, but if these flaws have been detailed, why don't they just fix the bill? And my answer to him was, in all honesty, I don't know. And when we don't know, the natural response of West Indians and Grenadians is there more in the mortar than the pestle? Who is pushing this thing at all costs? Why is it an emergency? But we haven't got a proper explanation of that. Now, just today, I saw a clip from a television news station in St. Lucia, where a local attorney in St. Lucia is saying, essentially, what are you telling me about CCJ when you have your high court meeting in the market, when the criminal court is on the highway, where the administration of justice is so deficient that the local government has paid little attention, and so the accessibility to the initial stages, the bottom rungs of the ladder, there's no accessibility. It has been compromised. So don't come and tell me now about how easy it is and how inexpensive it is to access the final court of appeal when you can't get transcripts coming out from your local high court, as was reported most recently by learned counsel Clouden. Fix what needs fixing, and don't try to mamagayos, to use a term I heard used by the labor representative in another panel discussion. Don't try to mamagayos. Our eyes are open, and come November the 6th, we shall see. I'm done.
You're done. How do you think this thing is going to go on November the 6th? You know,
I have no idea, George, because if that woman who believes that she's going to move the Queen is indicative of the type of understanding we have out there, God help us.
Okay, now before you go on, there's somebody on Facebook this morning who seems to want to take you on, Mr. B. I just want to read some comments. She's really posting several comments here. Her name is Louise Grant, and she says, whose fault is it if we don't have an opposition in Parliament? Was there not an opportunity to have one? That's her first comment. Her second comment, so if one woman says something, it means all people think that way? She's referring to your comment a little while ago. Then she also comes back here and says, and those things, wigs, Queen, those things, wigs, queen face, etc., are unimportant to the authority of events. So because I disagree with you, I'm fooled? Well, I can say the same thing about you. So says Louise. Before I go to the other comments, just let me get a response from you to Louise.
We live in a democracy, and we will all vote on November the 6th based on the information that we have understood.
As you speak, she has posted yet another one. You're important, Mr. B. You're important. She says here, I saw the clip too, and physical housing has nothing to do with applying of justice. When will the right time come? We are not living in the days of having to be the daughter or son of Mr. Highfalutin to get a job in the bank.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Okay, not just you. Okay. Anthony DeRiggs says, how can anyone take the attempt to break the chain of colonialism seriously when they insist on wearing and showing us a big symbol of colonialism in the Senate? I refer to the blonde wig. What do you say to Mr. DeRiggs?
Yeah, well, as I say, it appears that we have the opportunity with that bill to have perhaps corrected a number of things. But for whatever reason, the government has chosen to ignore the opportunity.
Yeah. Allan, just a matter of days now, And the comments are accelerating, if you will. Here's another one. No. She's quiet right now. Yeah, just a matter of days, and I imagine that we're going to be hearing even more concerns over the next couple of days. Thank you very much, sir. I know that you have to scoot this morning. I do appreciate you finding the time to be with us, and I look forward to maybe sometime on the weekend you could join us for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant.
And I'm going to send you the clip of the attorney in St. Lucia.
Yeah.
Who was responding to the Chief Justice, saying that he didn't understand the reluctance of certain Caribbean people to embrace the CCJ.
Yeah.
I think the Chief Justice may be a little misinformed. It is not that we're reluctant to embrace the CCJ. It is the process that is being followed in certain jurisdictions.
Well, you know, that's the thing that really concerns me, Allan. I think you nailed it on the head with your description, but unfortunately, I am hearing proponents of the CCJ make this thing out to be some sort of rejection on the part of people who raise concerns about the CCJ, saying you don't want the CCJ. I mean, look, there was a convention. I ran some clips yesterday or day before of comments made at a convention of the ruling party where a minister was saying, you know, to those people who are saying, I support the CCJ, but I support the CCJ, but sure. Essentially, don't take them seriously.
Well, I wouldn't take anybody seriously who tells me that he now has engaged the Chinese to provide financing to the Russians to see whether or not our oil and gas reserves have an adequate level of purity, because he's concerned about possible contamination. I mean, frankly speaking, by now, I thought all of us would have been rolling in money.
Well, still early days, I would imagine, Mr. Brzezinski. I think you better.
Gotta go.
Hold on. Louise says here. Hold on. Louise says we live in a democracy. Well said. Yeah, you know.
Thank you, Louise.
Yeah. And yet, people are concerned when people with opposing views say anything. Yet we live.
Well. People can oppose. Everybody's entitled to their view, no problem. Just don't do like America and start picking up guns.
And then Rachel John says, Louise Grant, it's not about wanting CCJ. It's about fixing it. So
the bill, that is, fixing the bill.
That's right. Judy Lewis Joseph says the video is buffering. Yeah. Anyhow. Thanks a lot, AB. I know you got to run. Take it easy,
okay.
Bro. All right.
Bye now.
All right.
Okay.
So there he goes, Mr. Allan Brzezinski, with his usual Thursday morning visit. Hey, stimulating as always. Always look forward to hearing from this guy. Now, we're going to take a little break here. And after we do that, we are going to come on back with today's national report, and the reason why we had to delay that is because, as you saw, Allan has to zip off to another engagement, I think at 10 o'clock or whatever, and so he asked if we could get him on a little bit early, and we decided to accommodate that. On that note, Georgie Porgy is going to take a little break here, and we'll come on back.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
We at the Dorothy Hopkins Center can always rely on you for your steadfast help. It's always forthcoming. We have seen the benefits already. Our bill has been reduced, I was told, by over 40%, and that is welcome because that translates to more care for the residents. And so, thanks again.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, for the past couple of days, I've been telling you that this week our issue with the buffering or the breaking up, as some people describe it on Facebook, will be over as of the end of this week. Now, the provider that I had been hoping would do that, I took them at their word, said they would install the technology here on Wednesday, which was yesterday, and they didn't. And the last I heard, late yesterday afternoon, is that their technical people were experiencing some difficulties with their equipment. So, once Georgie Porgy gets off the air this morning, needless to say, he's going to be on the telephone trying to figure out if we're going to get this stuff in here today so that tomorrow you'll have some nice, smooth video to look at. There's a note here from Judy Lewis Joseph. She says, the video is buffering, breaking up. Yeah, I know. I sympathize with you folks, you know. Everything's nice and smooth in here, but by the time it gets to you out there, it's all choo 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 choo. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's just say a prayer for us today that everything's going to work out just fine, okay? Now, here comes today's edition of the National Report.
Young people to have their say in COP24 in Poland. Details to this story and more coming up in the National Report. Welcome back. I am Wendy Edmond with the National Report for today, Wednesday, 31st October 2018. Grenada's youth will have a voice at the Conference of Parties COP24 in Poland in December. This is following a National Youth Symposium on Wednesday organized by the Grenada chapter of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network, the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Climate Resilience and the Environment. The symposium gave young people a platform to negotiate on issues related to climate resilience and the environment, with the aim of drafting a national youth statement. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, Mistress Marina Jessamy, highlighted the significance of incorporating a statement on Grenada's behalf.
The discussion is always, how do you involve youth? Where is the youth voice? Every year, when we go to the Conference of Parties meeting, and we call it the COP, we normally have a youth representative. We consult with youth groups through the Ministry of Youth, and that is how one person is selected. This year, we want to take it to a next stage, that when the youth person represents Grenada, it is not only to speak on the policies endorsed by the Cabinet, but they can go to the Conference of Parties meeting with a national youth statement. And that is where you come in today.
She says that the negotiations are preparing Grenada as it paves the way for the development of a 2035 policy on climate resilience and the environment.
Grenada is now in the process to develop its vision for the year 2025. By that time, I will be younger and there will be another PS here. And many of you might be at the point where you will take a responsibility, a national responsibility. That is why we decide to prepare you today. Because in 2025, many of us now leading negotiation, preparing negotiation team will retire. And the question is, who will fill that gap? The report that we are preparing to these meetings represents Grenada's performance card with respect to the progress of implementation of sectoral plans and policies.
President of the Youth Network, Shidonna Richardson, is hopeful this become an annual event to give the youth a voice in pertinent matters.
I hope that this is not just a one-time event, but an event that is held annually or maybe biannually, because it is important to create a space for youths to sit, learn, converse, and share. Today you will experience and be given the opportunity to understand the international climate negotiation process, prepare a national youth statement, and learn about climate change activities in Grenada and how you can become involved.
Minister of Health Honorable Nicholas Steele says government is undertaking the necessary upgrade at the General Hospital to ensure that cancer patients can access treatment there. Given the increase in reported cases of the disease, especially among the youth population, the government has ensured that an oncology and other cancer treatment services are made available. During the weekly post-cabinet briefing, the health minister announced that the government of Grenada has signed an agreement with an organization in Antigua as part of a PPP arrangement through the Antigua government, allowing Grenadian patients to access treatment at a minimal cost.
But we have signed an agreement with them which would allow Grenadians to access treatment there at a fixed amount. That amount, in my opinion, is still high, but much lower than it would be anywhere else in the world. I believe the amount is $10,000 US, but that is for complete treatment on whatever the case is. We are also seeing, as you are very much aware, an increase in the amount of cancer cases and are addressing it from the point of view. I've recently made announcements with respect to the ministry offering HPV vaccination, and our expectation that if we all follow the various procedures with respect to HPV vaccination and or regular checkups, also offering new forms of checkups called VIA, visual inspection of acetic acid, for women so that we can identify quickly those who are at risk. If we follow those procedures, we can eliminate cervical cancer by 2020 here in Grenada.
Minister Steele is urging every Grenadian to recognize and appreciate the efforts of the Ministry of Health as they seek to ensure these services are available to them.
We have put the steps in place, but it is for the public to recognize the efforts of the ministry and to follow various procedures that will prevent or eliminate cervical cancer, which is one. Two, we are doing regular public announcements and making sure that examinations are available, breast examinations. In fact, a couple of weeks ago at the Pink Ribbon Walk, the ministry had a vehicle down there, our blood donating truck, you would have seen it there, where free examinations were being offered throughout the day for that event. And we expect to continue that wherever possible, wherever invited. We will send that vehicle with doctors there to offer free examination to members of the public. That is also being offered at our healthcare facilities. That is with respect to the two leading causes of cancer in our women. For our men, we need to encourage, and I'll take this opportunity to insist that men of a certain age receive a prostate examination, because the occurrence of prostate cancer is extremely high.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
On November 6, 2018, Grenadians will go to the polls to vote in a referendum. The polls open at 6 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. Remember, first check the voters list outside the polling station before seeing the poll clerk, who will enter your name into the poll book. The presiding officer will then instruct you how to vote before issuing you with a folded ballot paper. After voting, remember to fold the ballot paper how it was given to you. You will then immerse your finger into the electoral ink before placing your ballot into the box. This is a message from the Parliamentary Elections Office.
Welcome back. Police will vote on Friday ahead of the rest of the nation, who will vote in a referendum on Tuesday, November 6th, to decide whether to make the CCJ the country's final court of appeal. The bill seeks to rename the Supreme Court as the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court instead of the Supreme Court of Grenada and the West Indies Associated States. The Caribbean Court of Justice Advisory Committee has been working diligently to ensure that Grenadians are knowledgeable of the process so that they can exercise their rights on referendum day. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Lawrence Joseph, says the committee has been educating the Grenadian public on the issue, and he is confident they are ready to make an informed decision.
I'm satisfied also because that same bill was circulated to all organizations who were requested to send in representatives to be members of the CCJ Advisory Committee. The bill was circulated to all these organizations, and they were given the opportunity to send in any amendments which they desired to be made.
Dr. Joseph also noted that all mechanisms are in place to ensure a successful referendum process on November 6th.
And I've been in communication with the Supervisor of Elections and have been informed that all mechanisms are in place with regards to the holding of the referendum. And I must say that the first people to vote on the referendum will be police officers. That's on Friday coming, the 2nd of November. And the supervisor has informed me that ballot boxes have already been given out to the various stations where police officers have to vote. And the various other papers, the ballot papers and so on, have been also distributed. And I have also been advised that there are sufficient ballot boxes, sufficient ballot papers with regards to the holding of the referendum for the general populace on the 6th, Tuesday, the 6th of November.
And that's a wrap on the National Report for today, Wednesday, October 31st, 2018. On behalf of all of us in the newsroom, I'm Wendy Edmond, thanking you for viewing.
All right, folks, just to give you an idea of how bad the internet is this morning, about halfway through that report there from the GIS, somebody by the name of Veronica Sandy posted a question on Facebook. Who will benefit from the CCJ? Now, I'm assuming for all intents and purposes that that was posted, or she was referring to something she saw sitting at home or wherever when Allan was on the program with us. Folks, like 10 minutes after Allan and I had that conversation, that's when it was reaching you folks out there. As I sit here speaking to you now, I'm looking at Wendy talking about youth inclusion. It's pathetic. It is pathetic what is happening. Now, Fitzroy Adams has also joined us on Facebook. He's saying, good morning, George. 99% of we Grenadians will never be able to go to the CCJ. Where will this money come from? The sky? And then Veronica Sandy has another little note here. She says, today is Thursday, eh? Okay. Okay, folks, I'll tell you what. we take another little break here, and then we'll come on back with some more stuff for you.
It's good to be early. It's good to be early. Pay your GRENADA bill on time.
Conveniently located in the GRENADA Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Granans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Okie dokie, folks. Local time here in Grenada on this Thursday morning, 17 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Just before we go, as always, here's an invitation to join us on Sunday morning. It's going to be another Blitzer. Sundays with George Grant. Looking forward to seeing all you folks around the world who usually assemble at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Well, it'll be nice to have you. Let us now turn to something inspirational. That's absolutely compulsory on our programs. A short quote from the book of James, James chapter 1, verses 2 to 6 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything." Yeah, boy, I certainly hope those words provide you with a little bit of encouragement. Whenever you face trials of many kinds, your testing is underway, and that helps you to develop your perseverance. That's going to carry you a long way through life. And so, pilgrims, on that note, George Porgy is going to pull the curtain down Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, it's Thursday. You know what happens on Thursday nights? 8 o'clock. Yeah. Tonight, the usual suspects will assemble here once again from 8 o'clock until 10 for this week's edition of McWe Chat. And you know, I can pretty much guarantee you what direction that's going tonight. Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you on that. So, see you at 8 o'clock tonight. God bless you, folks.